Hey, you're on TV. Everyone's watching. TT? Hey, everybody. Oh, yeah, me. He says, yeah, it's me. Welcome. We made it. Apologize for the technical difficulties yesterday, but we are here. We're live. We've got a ton of information, some great demos. Tater, did you want to say hi to anybody? No? One? No? All right. He's like, I know, I'm not warmed up yet. He will be on later to show you some things. Do you want to go on your bed then? Good boy. So we got the Tater cam that will, Tater cam to check in on. We have two puppies for you. So you can see Tater, and we have a doodle named Rosie, who's going to be doing some demos as well. Fingers crossed, all things go. Let's just say all things go, because Rosie is a brand new. We've now had her almost 2 days. Friend's dog that's in for training, and yeah, so lots of things to share with you. Let me know where you're from. I'm watching your comments, so if you can't hear me, let me know. I have a question for you while we're waiting here for everyone to get on. My question is, how do you use positive reinforcement currently in your training? I've got 5 options for you. Where am I? Over here I am. Number 1, you use primarily as a lure to get behavior, and then you feed the dog or reward with a toy. Number 2, you shape behaviors. So the reinforcement is a reward after the event. Number 3, you do a combination of 1 and 2. A lot of people do that. I've got hair going everywhere today. Number 4, you do a combination of that, plus you will throw in the odd physical or verbal correction where you feel deemed necessary. And number 5, something I didn't think of. I'm just curious to see who watches the stream. So let me know, put it in the chat, and you can either put a number or you can put an explanation, and I'm going to try and deal with crazy curls today. Okay, so number 2, we got some from Michigan. Oh, Auckland. I'm going to turn off my phone because I just heard it ding. I suggest you guys do the same, because we got some really important stuff to share with you today. So number 3, combination of luring and shaping. Gina says, I got crazy curls too. It's the humidity here, right, G? FYI, Gina and I went to high school together. Yeah, we go way back. Sometimes with a verbal interrupter, okay. Honestly, I still use 4. There's no the only ugh is if you really would like to transition out of that. And then the ugh is, you know what? It's just a reminder to yourself. Give yourself a break, right? I can't stand that thing in my face. Okay. A lot of, so I don't see anybody that is just at a 1. I see a couple of you who are at 4s. I don't see any 5s so far. And, you know, we're all just, we all are just a combination of our own experiences. What if I change my camera? Like, oh, there we go. I can do that. We're just a combination of our experiences, right? And so we are what really has been the path of least resistance for us, unless something kind of goes against where we want to be. And then we don't care if it's resistance, we're going to change things. So a lot of changes, that's great. And, you know, as I mentioned in the description of today's live, when I started training the way I do, which is an evolution, every single year it gets tweaked. Every single year we change something. But back when I started this, it would have been in the early 90s. And in the sports dog world, well, in any dog world, people say this shaping stuff isn't going to work for some dogs. Some dogs need to be told, you know what. And I would say, well, what dog is that? Because I, at the time, had Jack Russell Terriers. I had 2 intact female Jack Russell Terriers. Well, and I was told, well, that shaping won't work if the dog doesn't want to do something. So it'll work if it's fun, but when it's not fun, it won't work. Well, here we are 30 years later, and it's not just my dogs. It's not just my border collies. Yes, it's my terriers, which they told me, okay, that's okay for a terrier that doesn't really want to hunt. Well, one of my terriers, I actually took to the barn to hunt. So she would hunt mice and rats. She was actually the U.S. national champion in go to ground, and she was the U.S. champion in obedience. So I think in opposition to what they think, it's the only way you will have long-term success is by understanding reinforcement versus the need to use punishment. So it's been like in 92. So is that 30 years? 30 years that I've been evolving. And so it's not just me now. It's not just puppies I've raised. It's rescue dogs. It's dogs that I've seen and helped people coach. There's so many stories in our recaller stories. You may have seen them. There's so many stories of people getting rescue dogs that they were at their wit's end. And then they came through the programs that we have. And lo and behold, their relationship changes. So I want to share with you today a number of different, I want to share the evolution for where you might be with your dog. I've got a couple pages of questions to answer, and I've got prizes to give away. And I'm going to start right off by giving away prizes. First, I'm going to share with you how you can win a prize. So all that you have to do is share this live stream in your social media, and then come on back into the comments and write you shared, where you shared it. So then our team will put you on the list, and we'll randomly draw today's share prize. Ooh, this is what you get. You get a Frisbee from For My Merles. These are my absolute favorite. They're flying discs, I guess, a trademark we're not allowed to say. I call them frizzers. So frizzers and a tug toy. Now, I'm going to show you the really cool one that you get because I've got a picture of it. So what you get is this one. Oh, right there. See, it's got Recallers branding. It's a Recaller branded tug toy and a Recaller branded frizzer. So let's have some hearts for the good people at For My Merles. And so all that you need to do is share today's live feed anywhere on social media, and then come on back in the comments and let us know where you shared it. Now, next up, I've got some prizes to give away from people who were winners in one of our previous live streams. Okay, first off, the winner of a Propel. LOH, can you grab the Propel so that they can see what a Propel is? So Propel is probably, so these little gray things this dog's standing on, probably in the top 5 of my favorite things to use for fitness for my dogs. So this is from the great folks at Blue 9. This is a Propel, and yeah, if you are looking for a piece of fitness equipment, that's one. And guess who won one? Boom. Lords Castaneda. Kind of like Canada with a T and an E. Lords, Lourdes, Castaneda. You are the winner of the Propel from last week. And we have, so today, let me just share, we have one more winner, and this was from last week. So we did a live stream. I asked people if you had any takeaways, any aha moments that you wanted to share on our main Facebook page, or you could also share it in the learning zone of, because some people don't have Facebook, in the learning zone of the Connected Dog. So this was the gem that we decided was going to win a gift basket. It's not as big as this. It's not this one, because this is my gift basket that I put together for my own training. but it's from the great people at Coco Therapy. Some really, really cool dog training treats. And I could go on and on and on about them. You can get different shapes. You can get some that have absolutely no meat, which is what I prefer because my dogs are raw fed, and I really prefer treats that don't have a lot of meat in them. Some of them have, like these ones, have nice, tiny little. Look at how small that is. Can you see that? So it's nice size, super tiny. So Coco Therapy. The gift basket from Coco Therapy goes to Jane Cares, and this was her gem. Fundamentals are what build great mastery, and I have to be really conscientious of my mechanics because our dogs are only as great as our mechanics. It's true. I might have mentioned that many times. And that behavior is information, feedback on our dog's emotions, and we can help our dogs to have emotions that will give them confidence, and that's what's going to create a great connection. So that's a great, great gem. Thank you for that. So we are going to, you know what? Yeah, so we have another winner? Did I get all my winners, Lisa? Just make sure. And if I didn't, we'll just give away an extra prize anyway. Okay, so those are our winners. And I'm just looking in the comments and making sure. Okay, so you guys are writing where you shared it. That's awesome. The name of the treats are Coco Therapy. Love them. Love them. All right, so there's a little, it's a value of $50 that we're going to give you, a little gift basket worth $50. So there you go. Okay, my computer just wanted to do an update now. How about no? Let's just say no, because I'm in the middle of something right now. Okay, so then we've got some great questions that came in. If you are not, let me just know in the comments, are you currently in the Connected Dog series? Because if you're not, there's still a lot of things for you in today's live. If you are not in the Connected Dog, I recommend you go to doggyflix.com and join, because it's a program that you can, basically it's a program we could sell for $100, $200 easily, but we give it away for free. It's 6 videos. It's this great downloadable handbook, and it's live coaching sessions like this. Okay, so we've got yes, yep, and just let me know what you think. Yes, if you're in for those of you who've asked about recolors, I'll tell you more about that maybe in our live tomorrow, because recolors does open for registration next week. Just saying. So for those of you that are in Connected Dog, you know that we now have videos 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 open. I think I'm right. What day is it today? Maybe, no, yeah, 5. We have 5. And so you've got 4 games in there, and there will be a surprise game coming tomorrow. So you've got 4 games in there already. And these games, you know, to a lot of people that are out there trying to, you know, there's so many people trying to share reinforcement-based dog training all over the world, and I think that's fantastic. However, there's strategic layers to the learning, and they can just be random games. And that's what we see, for example, in this doodle. Her owners, first-time dog owners, and they just played these random games without any conscious thought to what happens outside of the games. And so what happened, it's like if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to get fit and healthy. So you said, okay, I'm going to eat a salad every day. But then you sit on the couch and you eat a bag of potato chips and a couple of beers every night, and you keep planning when you're going to get into fitness, but you really haven't got into fitness. And so you really don't like to move much, and you drink, 6 soda pops a day, but you do have that salad. So the games then are like the salad. So your body will say, thank you. This is awesome. Your dog's going to say, thank you. And you're going to get a little connection with your dog. Your body's going to get a little taste of what healthy could be like. But when you really commit, and you put all the pieces together and you eliminate the things that are working in opposition to the salad, that's when you really can have an expressway to your health and fitness goals. And that's what it's like for those going through Connected Dog right now. We're giving you some layers and we're showing you how the first game, the color grab game, related to the next game, the search game, related to the next game, the treat diving, related to the next game, It's Your Choice. So you now have a lot of pieces that if you went no further with us, you still have a lot of skills that can help your dog when they are distracted outside, that you can help your dog understand, don't lick the dishwasher because I don't want you getting on the counter. And then tomorrow you'll have even more games that are going to help you when somebody comes to the door, for example. So I know what is that? Foreshadowing. But it will all come together. But just be aware of what's happening outside of you. It's great if you make daily connection plans, that you play these games every day. But see what happens. We get people that join the Connected Dog or want to join Recallers or our Homeschool the Dog program, and they'll come for one of two reasons. Well, I would say three reasons. Number one is we have a new dog or a new rescue dog or a new puppy, and we don't know what to do. So there are some people that come for that. There are some people that say, I really dig this reinforcement-based dog training. I love your Shaped by Dog podcast, and I just want to learn more. I'm hungry to really make this investment in my dog and myself. So this is how I want to spend my time training my dog. And then probably the majority come to not just our program, but dog training in general, because they have a challenge. That their dog is being naughty, that they've decided that they don't like the behavior of the dog. And if you listen to Shaped by Dog and you listen to episode number 215, which if you haven't listened to that, it's probably one of my favorite episodes, that I talk about dog training like an iceberg. And the top of the iceberg an iceberg sounds bad, but I'm just using it because the top is all that you see. Still waters run deep, right? There's a lot of stuff underneath there. So the top of the iceberg is all that you see. And this is when people say, I want my dog to stay off or calm down, or I want my dog to come. He's blowing me off. And that's a relationship of command and control. It goes back to dog training 200 years ago was very dominance-based. And it was about, I am the master and you need to be in control and do as I say. It was really a shallow relationship, right? Imagine any relationship you have with your kids. I mean, in the 40s and the 50s, maybe the 30s or the 20s, maybe more so. That's how relationships between parents and children were. That it was, children are to be seen and not heard. And out of sight, out of mind. Like, don't bother the adults. And sometimes maybe even if you had money, the nannies did the raising. So what kind of relationship did you have? And so the tip of the iceberg are when you think of dogs as, I need them to do this. I need them to be this way. And when you get locked up in that, you end up with breed traits that you get angry about. My beagle just wants to sniff. Well, imagine that. Guess what they're really, really good at? Guess what they're better at than most dogs? Yeah, sniffing. Or my husky just wants to pull on leash. So I'm not saying these characteristics means your dog can't be trained. I'm just saying you have to be a bit more patient and open-minded about your approach to the training. So wanting the dog to be something or do something is about, I need to control my dog. My dog needs to be under my control, right? And so what you're doing in the Connected Dog is we're creating a different relationship. It's not one where we're looking to control, because one of the things you learn really early on as a competitor, and I've been a competitor at world championships for decades and decades, and one of the first things you learn in the mental game of sport is you need to release thinking you're in control of anything other than your own thoughts and actions. So what another competitor does, what somebody says about you, how the announcer mispronounced your name is none of your business. Your responses are all that you can control. We can never control our dogs. Do my dogs do exactly what I want? I would be willing to bet 90% or more of the time they do. And the other 10% with a second reminder, they would. But I never believed I had the right to expect them to. Their responses are feedback. And that middle area beyond command and control, where we get a deeper relationship with our dogs, is one of cooperative teamwork. And if you're playing the games in the connected dog, I bet you're already seeing that, where your dog is looking forward to these training sessions, where they're getting a little more sparkly, where they're getting more, you might have described your dog as, oh, he's lethargic, he's bored, he doesn't really like much. All of a sudden, yeah, he does like a little bit more. Whoa, there is a little personality in there. Because you're seeing now the very beginning of a transformational relationship. And that's where, when I walk my dogs down the street, or when people see how well behaved this guy is, he's sleeping now, that they go, wow, that's the kind of relationship I'd love with a dog. Wow, that is impressive. And it really, it isn't because I'm a professional dog trainer, because my students get the same wow every single time. We have a recaller student who named Belinda, and her dog Phoebe. She's from Australia. And she just won our student contest, by the way. And Belinda was a cat person. She never had a dog, never had any desire to have a dog. And she was driving to work one day and found this weak, frail little puppy, a bag of bones that somebody had pitched into the ditch. And she didn't even know if this dog was alive, and she ended up being alive. And she took her in and nursed her back to health, and of course got her medical care, ended up keeping her. And within 9 months, the dog was ruling her life and ruining her life. And so that's why she came to Recallers. And now we call her the ambassador for the program, because everywhere she goes, people say, wow, that's the kind of dog I'd like to have. And so you might think that's really, and that is where you're heading in the connected dog, guys. These games, they come together, and you are going to see the wow as well. With the It's Your Choice game, I remember I was giving a lecture at the United States Pug National Championship many, many years ago. I think it was in Wisconsin. And I was at the soiree the night before, and one of the executives, they had all these like cold cuts on a coffee table. It was a big round coffee table, and I don't know, the president or the vice president or somebody came in and said, "Wow, it's a good thing there's going to be no pugs coming to this event. That table would be cleared." And I laughed and I said, "I could help you with that." And he's like, well, maybe you could help somebody with another dog, but my dog's a rescue dog. And so the justification starts. I can't eat salads because it makes me burp after. My dog is a rescue dog. He's always stolen food. He's 6 years old. He's not trainable, yada, yada, yada. I said, is there anything else you'd like to share? Because when we're done, or even like we've got an hour before you start, I could show you how your dog will ignore all that food. And it would only take me, I don't know, 15 minutes. And I did 4 little sessions of 2 or 3 minutes. And then the dog was walking around, not looking at the table. And the man's jaw was down to here. And he said, wow, one transformational game. But there's something even below that. And this is something that I mentioned, that I saw in the comments when we started. The deepest level of relationship is the level of connection where you recognize that you're giving your dog grace. Oh, your dog's, shredding something. Well, previously you would have screamed at him and punished him, and what did you do? And now you realize that you turn everything on yourself, and you look through the lens of, what can I control? Can I control my dog making these choices when I'm not here? No, but I can control the dog's desire to make them. And so it's not what did you do? It's what did I do? I left you alone in a big area before I had 100% confidence that you'd make the right choice. Buddy, I'm not going to do that again. And so you learn to give your dog grace. And that grace eventually extends to other people in your life. And instead of getting angry because what somebody else does, the guy cutting you off in traffic, somebody cuts me off in traffic instantly, I go to curiosity. Wow, I wonder if his wife's having a baby. Wow, I wonder if he is just a jerk. Wow. You just have these curiosity conversations. Okay, so I'm not 100% there. So, and eventually that grace that started with your dog, it extends to the most difficult person to give grace to, and that's yourself. Because as I saw in the first opening comment when I said, where are you with reinforcement? And one of you wrote, ugh, I'm still at 4, unfortunately. And so give yourself grace. You are an accumulation of your experiences to date. You trusted in a lot of professionals who told you this is the only way that worked. And now you're at the Connected Dog and you're here to learn. There's a lot better ways of not only getting the behavior, but getting the companion. Because that's what we're all headed towards, right? Is that companion. And so that's why I encourage you to play the games as they are written in the handout. You get your little game book handout, game day handout, watch the video, play them as instructed. And if you have to, write a question and say, listen, I just had knee replacement. Is it okay if I play the collar grab from my wheelchair? Absolutely. But make sure you check it out first, because chances are there's a reason why every step is there. And if you just start changing the games, then you're not really getting the same games. I like a salad, but I don't want any lettuce on it. I just like chocolate chips and some oatmeal. That's not really called a salad anymore, is it? Is it?
There's a beautiful comment by Martina. Can you see it?
Okay, so I'm looking for a comment from Martina. This one, Martina wrote, I constantly have wow moments with my dog since I joined Recolors. That's the greatest thing. I love it when people say wow about my border collies. I mean, I love it. That's great. But I know I've had them since they were a puppy. But when I get wows about Tater, that's the really cool thing. Because, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Tater started as a dog. This is a tiny little clip about... I was just trying to see, we'd had him maybe 2 weeks, and I wanted to see, could I tap his toenails with a spoon? I wanted to see how good he would be to have his nails cut. That's all I want to do, is tap his toenails. So instantly he turns to bite and
It's strong too.
So that was a hard no. If you want to do something I don't want you to do, you will pay for it. All right. Now he's sound asleep. So I'm going to put the camera on him. And I don't know if the camera will turn off or if you'll see him, and then I'm going to play, a little video clip of when I turn on the Dremel now. So he's sound asleep, and watch. You can hear that. I'm not calling him, and there's nobody else in the house. Hey, bud. Did you want your nails cut? Oh, I know. Come on over here where everyone can see you. I know, it's exciting. It's nail cutting time. Nail cutting time. Yeah. So good. So good, isn't it? Time to cut the nails. You were sleeping, but you get to cut your nails. Yeah. Catch. That's a good boy. So somebody heard the Dremel. Mister, can you get off? It's in the computer. It's not real. Can you get off? Sorry. It was a fake. Can you go back in your bed? No, the Dremel is not in the computer, buddy. TT, go in your bed. And then I got the puppy all upset. You're not quite in your bed yet. Tater, I don't have it. Go in your bed. He is convinced there's a Dremel and it's in here and he's getting his nails cut. So we've gone from a dog who was like dangerous to even consider cutting his nails to a dog who's like, there's nail clippers in. And you saw before when I asked him to get in his bed, he would get in his bed, no problem. Now he's convinced there's nails to be cut and he wants his nails cut. That's it. Right? So that's a cooperative, wow, relationship. And that's moved to a relationship. Who would have thunk that crazy bulldog cross that destroyed all that furniture would be there? So whatever it is that your dog, for those of you who have come to this because you're frustrated with behavior X, that you've tried other training programs and you can't get your dog to stop behavior Y, or your dog, because of their breed, will always do, behavior Z or Z if you're an American, that it doesn't matter. Outside your control, what's within your control is daily connecting through games, and it will get better. I promise you. Yeah, just the 4 games that we've rolled out and the surprise one that you're going to see tomorrow. All right. So now I'm going to go to some of your questions. Does this make sense? Is anybody not understanding how we're getting from where we're challenged to where we really want to be, where we want to ascend as a team with our dog, where we really want to live a life of compassionate and companionship that is not adversarial, that you aren't gritting your teeth and trying to control the dog, because that's just creating, truthfully, oxidative stress is not good for any of us. And every time you're getting mad at something outside of your control, that's like spitting in the wind, my friend. Okay, so question. So I answered the first one. So Darlene asked for collar grab, can we use a clicker? If so, where in the sequence would the clicker be used? So we do use a clickers occasionally, but I look at a clicker as a very precise tool, like a scalpel. And there is nothing precise that we're doing when we're grabbing the collar. Like, when would you click? And the other thing is, where would you hold the clicker? And why would you want to click? Because in actual fact, we are conditioning the touch of the collar is the same thing as a clicker. This means I'm giving you a cookie. This means I'm giving you a cookie. So that actually becomes yeah, something good's going to happen. That doesn't always mean a cookie. It could mean a game of tug. It could be, pulling them back to do something else. So think like when I first was introduced to clickers back in the 90s, I got super excited and I was clicking everything. My website was clickerdogs.com. I believe if you type in clickerdogs.com, you will probably end up at DogsThat. So, but I realized it's just a tool that is very specific, only when you're doing things like, if you were having, I love this analogy, if you were having brain surgery, your surgeon could use a laser to cut your brain, or they could use a melon baller. And one would be appropriate and one would not. So just because a laser cuts finer doesn't mean you're going to use the laser to cut chocolate cake, right? That is just, you don't need that degree of accuracy. Okay. So Ella Bondi said, that's great because my timing with the clicker is awful. Well, here's my suggestion. You need to use one every month. Your clicker, if your timing with the clicker is awful, then your timing without a clicker probably ain't great either. So we can improve it by making yourself use that clicker and video yourself so you can hear the click and see what you're clicking. So shape a trick once a month. And if you are in our WAG Nation program, we'll give you tricks to share, to try. Okay. Next question. I should get my pen so I know which ones I've done. Do you have to stand when doing the collar grab? So no, you can have your dog stand on the couch to start, but eventually, to teach this, like when I'm doing it with a puppy, I'll have them on a bed, a dog bed, a couch, a footstool. But eventually, I'll want them on the floor. So my little dogs, I want them on the floor because, again, this is a game that leads to other layers, but it's also an emergency game. So if a big dog's coming for your little dog, like if I'm coming at you and I'm panicky, I want to know that you're not going to do the little dog sideways dance. So you have to eventually get on the floor, but you're absolutely right. You don't have to start it on the floor, for sure. So Jerry, can this graduate to getting the dog to move while holding the collar? I think we talked about this one. Was it in here? No, the other group? Okay. So absolutely, we want to graduate to walking with the dog, or hanging onto the dog and walking them someplace, because for two reasons. Number one, you may need that collar grab to get your dog out of the way, and we want it to be conditioned as an amazing thing. Number two, the odd time I might be, taking my dog and walking them to the kennel. Maybe I don't know, they've done something horrific and I'm going to put them in the kennel. That would be a timeout. I virtually never use timeouts anymore. But the odd chance I might do it, then I want them to not be putting on the brakes and panicking and thinking that they're a bad dog. People say, well, if they're conditioned to the collar grab being a good thing and they've done something bad, aren't we rewarding them? Maybe. But how often are they going to be doing something bad? If it's happening a lot and you're rewarding a lot, then you need to manage your environments better. So anything I want, which is why I want my dogs to love their crate, to be crazy about, oh my gosh, I love being in a crate, right? How long did it get Tater to get to that place he's now with his nails? I would say, it actually took him less time than it took my border collie. So my border collie, who I shaped as a puppy, somewhere along the way decided she didn't like it. And she wasn't as bad as he was horrific, but it took her a lot longer. So we see people that can turn that around in a matter of a couple of months. And if you're starting brand new with a brand new puppy, probably in a matter of weeks, that you'll have a dog. Like my dogs, they lie on their side. Tater just sits there. They lie on their side, and it's a program called Your Dog's Pedicure, Please, that we have inside of Recallers. You can get it as a standalone product as well. My dog is in a fear stage and squats and pees with every collar grab. So I've mentioned this before, that you need to, on our first call, that if you're dealing with fear, you don't push forward. You maybe just, hold up a collar and then, or hold up a collar, walk in a room and then give a cookie and leave. Hold up a collar, give a cookie and leave, right? Hold up a collar, give a cookie and leave. And so that the sight of the collar means, oh, something good's going to happen. And then you maybe move up to, making the collar big and slipping it over their head and then letting it, like, you don't even have to use a real collar. Slip that over their head, give them a cookie, leave. So we're meeting the dogs where they are at. And so if they are fearful of something, we don't say we're jumping 6 levels and you need to if you're somebody who hates vegetables and then you're on the Susan Garrett of learning a good healthy vegan diet, then, I'm putting some greens in your smoothie and filling it up with chocolate. And that's how I'm going to get you eating to begin with. I'm not going to say, I love broccoli, which, by the way, I do. I eat it every morning for breakfast. That's another story. I digress. But you meet the animal where they're at. And so if there's fear, we deal with emotions first. I want a positive conditioned emotional response to everything. So now treat diving. Is the gap between the treat, toss, and the word search, or between the word search and release? So with treat diving, we're holding the collar. We say search, toss, release. So I might hold the collar if I feel the dog hasn't looked. So I grab the collar and I say search, toss, release. Now, If your dog, especially puppies, they have a heck of a hard time tracking that cookie. So for the puppies, I'll just do this. I'll just grab the cookie and I will do this. Did you catch that? I will just throw the cookie. I won't even say anything. And when they see it, then I'll say search. So with the puppies, they don't track things as well. Some puppies, like their eyesight is still developing depending on the age of the puppy. So I'll throw it very close. I'll just, drop it. And then once they're looking at it, I'll let them go. So really, if we want the puppy already knows the word search because of the search game. And you've conditioned that word well. When you say search, they will instantly drop their head because they know search is always going to be something's on the floor. All righty. Oh, another page. I finished that page. So you talk about the progressions with trained belief. That is our puppy. In the first two demonstrations, you have the lady and the man saying search and then throwing the cookie. But towards the end of the video where Susan is demonstrating, she throws the cookie and then says search. Okay, so when your dog has a really good understanding of It's Your Choice, you can put in a little, and it's just in my nature to always, reward challenge. So on that one, it would have been, I was seeing if the puppy was going to leave without the word. I was testing how well you understand you're not allowed to grab a cookie until you hear the word search. So it was kind of like It's Your Choice. And then I say search and you can have it.
And that's how they get married.
Right? Yeah. And as Linda said, those are those two games coming together. If I toss a cookie on the floor, I might do this. I might say search, toss a cookie, search, toss a cookie, search, toss a cookie, say nothing, toss a cookie. What do? And if they go for it, I just tent it because that's an It's Your Choice moment. I didn't tell you could have it. All right. Bringing the layers together. So Robin says, my dog knows some scent games and we're already using the word search. Okay. So absolutely. With my own dogs, I do nose work and I use the French word chercher. So if your dog knows search means to search for a scent, then you don't want to use the same word to mean look for food on the floor. Definitely change that up. And it can be anything, what some good words, you could use the French word. You could use freebies, I don't know, whatever you like. Are we to continue playing collar grab independently and at separate sessions of playing search? Will a collar grab eventually become to mean to the dog that a search is next and will be phasing out the original grab mark game? No. And yes, maybe. So depending on how you use a collar grab, it may mean like as soon as I grab your collar, you look for the floor to the ground. But for my dogs, it may also mean like I'm going to grab you. If you play great games, I might grab the collar and then say kennel and release you to kennel, or grab the collar and put a toy out in front and say get it. So you never stop though grabbing the collar and giving cookies. Like if you stop putting money into your bank account, eventually the interest erodes away, or the bank fees erode away your principal, and then the bank just closes that account. So eventually, when you want and you reach for your collar, your dog said, you close that account. So we want to continue every now and again. If you're going to give your dog anything around the house, like I hope you have cookie bowls around your home that you can surprise reinforce the dog. If you are going to get sure, sometimes I'll just throw a cookie at them if they're doing something I want, but why not just build money for the collar grab game? How does that hurt anything, right? I know some of you don't wear a collar on your dog, but then you might just mark it on the calendar. The 26th of every month will be the day that I put a collar on my dog. Why the 26th, Susan? That's my birthday. So You can tell your dogs. And Crazy Aunt Susan says we're wearing collars today. Okay, from Sue. What am I doing wrong when as soon as I say search and wait before releasing the cookie, my mini schnauzer is pulling away to get the treat? An actual fact, Sue, you're doing it well, because your dog pulling away, so you're holding, you haven't thrown the treat, you've said search, and your dog's going, ha ha ha, I know what that means. So that means the transfer of value has happened. That means the dog is like, game on, let's go. And so that's what you want. So no, you've done a great job. So we play search game everywhere. One big walk with sniffing, a second walk while playing the search game. He does it well, and when he is walking, he concentrates on it. Is this a good idea? I do small time frame while he's off leash too. I'm not sure what this means, if it means that the entire walk you're throwing cookies, because I don't think that's a great idea. I said to Linda, and this is going to be a podcast upcoming, I think the mistake that a lot of people make with dogs is like a lot of dog trainers say you got to get on a schedule and you got to do things on a schedule. And I believe what dogs really need is for us to be predictably unpredictable. So if your second walk is always I'm throwing cookies everywhere, then all right, the first walk I can ignore you, nothing's going to happen, we're not engaged, you're not, I'm on my time. The second walk, you're the Pez dispenser, so you get my attention. But if I decide this isn't Pez dispenser walk, then I'm not giving it to you. Right? So we want to be so unpredictable with how we're using the games, and that's what recallers will help you do. The more games you get built on top of it, the easier it is for your dog to not know what's going to happen next. And then, yes, some triggers create an expectancy, which is great. Like you put your hand on the door and the dog sits. So we want those triggers, but we don't want, and this is what we're seeing in Rosie the Doodle, is it's my time o'clock. I don't go in a crate at my time o'clock. And I don't eat the cookie you gave me. I eat the cookie I want you to give me. And so that makes it really difficult. And so positive is not permissive. We are absolute positive dog trainers. But through the great strategic use of reinforcement, we get a dog who understands boundaries. They understand boundaries because they've learned them through games. They don't demand bark at us and say, I don't belong in a crate. They don't demand bark at us and say, you're sleeping late today, and I don't like that. We predictably unpredictable. And that is part of playing these great games. Okay, it's your choice. I play this is from Barry. I play this game by throwing the cookie and saying, leave it. Then I say, get it. I don't know what that says. So it's your choice. People say, I just say, leave it. Leave it is the tip of the iceberg, is the command and control. It is, you attempt to live your life as a dog, and me, Grand Poobah leader, will tell you where you're wrong. Will tell you what's not accepted. I much prefer teaching my dog to not eat things off the floor in the form of a game, and let them know when it is appropriate for them to eat something. And so I have literally been walking down the street and have my dog like pull my arm back because there's like a piece of meat on the ground, and they've stopped and like, is this a trick? Did you plant this here? Can I have this? And of course I would pick it up and then give them something even better. So I don't want to have to control my dogs with things like leave it. If my dog's off in a distance And Momentum might be the one of my dogs that will decide that she is going to roll in coyote poop. As soon as I see the shoulder dip, I just call her name. Man, we're going this way. Oh, okay. So it's only certain times a year that she finds that attractive. And I don't know, hormones or whatever. So could I teach her? I smell that and it's better if I stay away. I probably could, but it's not worth my time. I just rely on a really good recall, which means, guess what happens if I don't see or sniff the coyote poop? I'm bathing dogs. So leave it is I'm in control. 24 hours a day, I'll have my spy cams on and I'll be able to tell if you're doing something bad. Leave it. Okay. It's just a different way of looking at life. Katie asks, it's your choice. I've heard from other reinforcement-based trainers that it's your choice can cause a dog to lose food motivation / poison food. If we're telling them over and over they can't have the food when they are excited. Coming from high energy dog sports, do you ever find that happen? That is a new one on me. So we've been teaching this for at least 20 years. And again, it's easy to draw. I'm a scientist. I have a Bachelor of Science degree. So I'm very big on science that makes sense. So I'm gonna tell this joke. I've told it many times. People go crazy when I tell the joke because I tell it too often. It's a scientist joke. Scientists were measuring how far a frog could jump. So they put the frog on a table. They slammed the table behind and they said, jump. And the frog jumped an incredible distance. They measured it. Then they surgically removed one leg. It was kind. They put the frog back at the starting point, slammed the table. They said, jump. And it still jumped a long distance, not quite so long though. They continued to do this, surgically removing the second leg, the third leg. When all the limbs were severed, they put the frog at the starting point. They said, jump. Nothing. Put the frog back there, said, jump again. Nothing happened. They tried a third time, and then they wrote up their results. After all limbs severed, frog was rendered deaf. So you have to be careful when people draw conclusions, isolated conclusions, and say, this game does that. And the people who've probably taught the game to more people than anybody else on the planet have never, ever seen it. So it's, especially if you play the game, there's a lot of people now are playing It's Your Choice. They're calling it different things. They're calling it the choice game. They're calling it I don't know. They're calling it all kinds of games. So they've taken the game that I came up with and they're training it in different ways, calling it different things. And then that could be pain. I don't know what they're doing. They could be holding up food and flicking a dog in the nose and calling it the It's Your Choice game. So the game as we teach it, where you're building up drive for food by teaching search and by teaching treat diving and by giving, conditioning with collar grab, and you're creating this relationship between you and your dog. And then you're walking with a bowl up here and you pick up a cookie and the dog's excited and they go to get it and you just put the cookie back in the bowl. Is that teaching dogs to be poisoned or hating food? I don't think so. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me.
Susan, Cynthia sent a question today. What if a dog is not food motivated?
You
might have to repeat that.
Yeah. So Cynthia asked, what if a dog is not food motivated? That's a challenge. So that goes back to what's the emotional state of the animal. And so when I used to bring in a lot of rescue dogs many years ago. And when I'd get a dog that wasn't food motivated, that was my training. That was my training. How? So of course you go through your, what's that called? That board? I used to feed dogs that got finicky when they got older? Is it charcuterie board? So you go through like a charcuterie board with things like liver pate and cheese and egg, hard-boiled egg, and fresh beef or chicken. You might put a little bit of each on a cutting board and put it down. Does the dog go for any of them? If you took a dog who was terrified of thunder and you put that plate down, what are they going to do? They're not even going to look at it. So if a dog is in a fearful state, they're not interested in food. So the number one thing we have to do is make sure that dog feels confident and safe. If they don't feel safe, then that is your number one job, is to have them. Right? When Rosie came here the first 24 hours, she took very little food, if any, from us. Cheese was about the only thing. Okay, so if your dog is not interested in food, don't try to progress your training. You now know where your training begins at making that dog feel safe, and then finding out what is a oh my gosh, I love that. And here's the thing, and I a lot of people make the mistake of, I found one thing that my dog loves, and then they're going, I'm going to give it all the time everywhere. No. That is something of value. You take something slightly lower, and you're going to try to transfer the value from this to that. So my dog might like cheese. So I might give some cheese and then give a small piece of roast beef and then another piece of cheese and a little piece of roast beef. And eventually roast beef takes on the value of the cheese, and it just keeps going on and on and on. You know what? Not all cheese is dairy. Just saying. I don't use cheese with my dogs, by the way. Okay. My 3-year-old, so these are just general questions. My 3-year-old border collie only listens when there is treats. This comes from Carrie. Will I get help with this? Carrie, here's what's happened. In programs that rely on a lot of food lures, where it's sit or down or come or heel, and the dog is raised to focus on the food, you are a comma in their life. It's just, you're the holder of the food, comma. Right? The way in the connected dog that we're teaching you to relate with your dog, you're the exclamation point. Training! Mom's here! This is awesome! Because collar grab and something massively value. If you're playing collar grab, and I've watched some of, in our Plus Mastermind, I've watched some of the people in there giving like kibble, collar grab kibble. Think that this is your relationship foundation with your dog. I don't want to be kibble to my dog. I want to be filet mignon. I want to be the best cookie you've ever had. Can you use kibble? I could use kibble with Tater salad now. He's like such a chow hound. I would never teach anything new to a dog with kibble. I mean, or you know, as good as these ones are, these cocoa therapy treats, they're still dry. And so they'd be way up there above kibble, but they're still dry. Those are not, oh my gosh. Did you just put that in my mouth? Exclamation point. Because I think you're still a comma if you're using kibble. Okay. So how are we going to get your border collie to listen when there's no treats around? Is conditioning, Pavlov, creating triggers. You become the trigger. You become the meatball. Okay. How do I get help to transition from the quiet environment inside to the squirrels, rabbits outside to when I'm playing all these kinds of games? You know who is going to help you? Your dog. Because your dog, through their behavior, through their focus, through their responses, are going to tell you where they're great at playing the games. I'm great in the living room. I'm great in the bedroom. I'm great in the rec room downstairs. Not so great in the kitchen because the big picture window's there and I can see the squirrels. So then you're going to play a lot of your games out on those other rooms until you've got great conditioned responses because you're not using kibble. And then you're going to play maybe one game in the kitchen and then back in the living room, the kitchen, the rec room, right? So the dog, yeah, crapper training, Heather nailed it. So when I'm training my puppies, crapper training for the win. So because I wouldn't train a puppy in the living room where there's people and then there's distractions and there's things to smell and there's, yeah, I just wouldn't do it. I would keep them in the bathroom. How do I trade out the treats and still balance her food? You can just, so I'm not telling you never to use kibble, guys, for your training. I'm telling you when I'm teaching something new, it might be 90% really good treats, 10% kibble. And then when when it's become like, oh my gosh, I love this, I can go to maybe 50-50 and maybe even get to 7. Pardon?
Show them what it actually looks like.
Okay, so this has got some cheese. This is Cocoa Therapy's fat bombs. I'll show you one of these. Tater salad got a lot of these yesterday. I don't know. Can you work that camera? And I'll call Tater over here. And let me just. Oh, it'll be hard for you to work the camera and see. You can point it in this general direction.
Wait, let me turn my computer. Maybe.
Okay, so there's Tater. And when I call him, you can just turn the camera over here. And I'll give him like a low value treat for coming here. And because he didn't go back to his bed that great, I'm going to give him a higher value reward for going back to his crate. Tater. Oh, come here, bud. Oh, is what? Yeah, it is. Can you hop it up in that chair? Okay, so we can't really see him, but he is right here. Thank you. Cookie? Thank you. All right, TT. That is not yours. That's mine too. Can you get, can you sit? We're on live camera. Tater, sit. Thank you. Pause up. Thank you. Tater, sit. Oh, buddy. Good boy. Can you go hop it up in your bed? Don't look at the puppy. She'll growl. Tater, come here. So he didn't do what I asked. So I'm calling him back here. He doesn't get a reward for coming back here. Tater, go hop it up in your bed. Come here. What did I say? Go hop it in your bed. Hop it in your bed. Thank you. Good boy. So that took 2 calls. He doesn't get a cookie for that. Tater, come here. Put it up there. Now I'm giving him the lowest value that I have in the bowl. Go hop it in your bed. She's not going to get you. Tater, go hop it up in your bed. Catch. Good boy. So that he got the highest value reward for. So now, hop it up. Thank you. Sit. Good. Down. Stand. Stand. Good. Catch. Tater, come here. Good. So now I gave him a super high value reward over there and extra treats. Okay, can you go hop it up in your bed? Yeah, good boy. Catch. So even though that puppy's barking at him, ready? T, catch. That's a boy. Thank you, Linda. So even though the puppy's barking at him and he's super distracted and he didn't really want to leave because the cookies are here, you saw me work through a problem. that if I have to help, because it's something I know you know how to do, if I had to help, I'm not giving you the same reinforcement. I'll say good boy, because you finally got there. Now, if he was a puppy and he was learning in this great distance, then I would have made the distance shorter. I would have done a lot of things to ensure his success. But with him, I know that he knows, hop it up in your bed. And so you got to see how, with reinforcement, I worked through a problem, used the transfer value, higher value for, I asked you to do something, immediately you did it, boom, right? Okay. Oh my, we're over time. Let's give away, let's tell you guys, I would like you, the team's going to put a gem post on my Facebook page. And what I would like you guys to do is, in the last 90 minutes, I got carried away and I apologize. I went over time. If you learned anything from this live today, if there was any aha moments, if there was something like, I get it now, I would love for you to share that in the gem post on my Facebook page. And if you do, what we're going to give away today, I think, is I think we're giving away. Oh, so what am I giving away then? Oh, I'm giving away. Oh, I told you, I'm giving away a Recaller's Frisbee and a Frisbee or Frizzer and the toy for the share. And for the gem, I'm giving away, Cocoa Therapy gift bag, $50 worth of Cocoa Therapy treats. All right. So post the gem onto my Facebook page, or if you don't do Facebook, go on over to the Connected Dog in the Learning Zone. And if you are not in the Connected Dog, then you have until Sunday night to watch all the videos there, download all the great tools that we have for you. It's all 100% free. Today's share winner, we're going to give away an instant share. And what are we giving? Oh, you're getting a harness today. A harness from the good friend people at Blue 9. And that is going to Matthew Talion. I will give away another share for people who are watching this on the, they're Be by Betty Bunkaroo time. Maybe they're in, living in Australia. You'd be awake by now. No, maybe not. We'll give away another share on Friday. I will be going live again on Friday, correct? However, just a little however, I'm doing a little emergency family visit to the West. So I can't promise you the time, but once I get out West, I will be able to. I just have to make sure that I have good enough internet. So I'm going to aim for that to be a 4:30 instead of 1:30. It'll be 4:30 this time. But I can't. I'm sorry, I can't tell you right now the time. Because I'm just going to be going out to do a little family visit. All right. So thank you guys. I've been having so much fun on this. I completely lost track of the time. So I'm going to sign off. Please share your gems, and we'll see you on Friday. Right? I won't have any dogs to train though, because I'll be out West. Unless I find one. You never know. Yeah, maybe.